Lagos, the city that never truly sleeps. A place where dreams are born, tested, and sometimes broken. Amid the rhythm of ambition and noise lived a young woman who believed in truth until love became her greatest deception. Her name was Amora Okafor. To anyone watching, they were perfect, two hearts beating in harmony against the chaos of Lagos. But peace is fragile. And sometimes, it hides a storm waiting to break. The sun was setting over Lagos, a watercolor sky of orange and pink. On a quiet rooftop cafe, Amora sat across from Chike Okafor, the man who made her heart believe again. She had met him 2 years ago, in a courtroom corridor, of all places. She was a young intern then, nervous and late for her first appearance. He had bumped into her, spilled his coffee, and instead of being angry, he laughed. "Looks like we both need a fresh start," he said. That was how it began, with laughter instead of apologies. Tonight, that same laughter still lingered between them. The kind that made the city noise fade for a moment. Amora, smiling. "You know, sometimes I still wonder how we survived our first date." Chike, laughing. "You mean the one where you lectured me about ethics in law for 30 straight minutes?" Amora. "I was passionate, not boring." Chike. "No, you were perfect. You still are." He reached across the table, brushing his thumb against her knuckles. The city glowed below them, restless, alive, but for that moment, Lagos stood still. Amora, teasing softly. "You always say the right things, Chike. Makes me wonder if you practice in the mirror." Chike, grinning. "Maybe. Or maybe I just know what I want." Amora. "And what do you want?" Chike, quietly, sincere. "A life that feels like this. You and me. Laughter after long days. Coffee that goes cold because we're too busy." Amora's smile faltered just a little, that quiet kind of fear that love sometimes brings. She wanted to believe him. She really did. Amora, softly. "And what if peace leaves someday?" Chike. "Then I'll fight for it." He raised his glass, eyes warm, voice low. "To peace, Amora. The kind we'll build, together." She smiled, raising hers to meet his. "To peace," she whispered. But as their glasses touched, the wind carried away something neither of them noticed, the sound of promises too delicate to survive what was coming. Later, as they laughed and made plans about vacations, dream homes, and maybe someday children, a distant thunder rolled far beyond the city skyline. A warning hidden in the night breeze. But love is blind to warnings. Especially when it finally feels safe. And as they watched the sun sink below the horizon, Amora believed, truly believed, that love, at last, was on her side. She didn't know that the man across from her would soon stand on the other side of justice. Morning came with the calm rhythm of Lagos, restless, but beautiful. Amora was about leaving her home for work when her phone buzzed, a message from David. "David, tell your husband to pick his calls. We need to sort that thing before noon." She frowned. That thing. She started to reply, but stopped herself. It wasn't her business. By the time she reached her firm, Lobridge Partners, she had buried the thought. Work was her safe space, her escape. She was everything her clients admired, sharp, composed, and unshaken. But beneath the tailored suit and the lawyer's calm, lived a woman quietly trying to steady her heart. Amora steps into her office, sets her bag down, and looks at the framed photo of her and Chike smiling at the beach. She pauses. For a second, her expression softens, then her assistant walked in, pulling her back into reality. "Good morning, Mrs. Okafor," her assistant called. "Morning, Ada," Amora replied with a smile. "Any messages?" "Your 10 a.m. meeting has been moved to 11. And Mr. Benson asked for the new draft of the appeal." "All right, I'll send it shortly." Mrs. Benson, her boss, was the kind of woman who lived for precision. She didn't raise her voice, she didn't need to. One raised brow from her could make an intern reconsider their entire career. At 11 a.m. sharp, Amora walked into her office. "Morning, ma'am." She looked up from her papers. Amora. Sit. She did. I reviewed your brief on the Akon case, she said. Excellent as usual. But. Amora braced. But. He handed her a new file. We have a fresh case, sensitive. I want you to lead it. Another day. Another case. Another proof that duty never sleeps, even when the heart wants to. But as she turned the pages, something stopped her. A signature, elegant, lupin, and painfully familiar. She'd seen that handwriting before. On birthday cards. On love notes that began with, "My dearest Amora." Amora, barely audible. No, it can't be. Her throat tightened. The name on the report. The man accused of orchestrating the fraud, David Adebayo. But the forger's signature beneath it belonged to someone closer. Someone she shared her mornings and coffee with. The penmanship was identical. The same stroke she once traced across a love letter. The same name she whispered every night before sleep, Chike, her husband. For a moment, the whole office disappeared. No voices. No ringing phones. Just a heartbeat and the echo of betrayal. Amora's voice trembling underneath her breath. Chike, what did you do? She shut the file slowly, as though closing it might make the truth less real. But lies, once uncovered, don't sleep again. I'll expect your report by Friday. The client wants justice served fast. Justice. The word tasted bitter now, like something she'd once believed in, and suddenly feared. That night, the city would drown in rain, and truth would rise with it. But Amora didn't know that yet. All she knew was this: love had left a paper trail, and she was holding the first clue. In Lagos, truth travels fast, but betrayal moves faster. And for Amora Daniels, both were coming her way. Lagos never hides its chaos. Even in the rain, its heartbeat doesn't stop, horns, shouts, laughter, all woven into the same restless rhythm. But for Amora, the city had gone silent. Because tonight, love had a new name, evidence. She had spent the entire day convincing herself it was a coincidence. That maybe Chike's name appeared there by mistake. That maybe, somehow, love was innocent. But lawyers don't believe in coincidence. They believe in evidence. And tonight, her heart had become the courtroom. In that moment, her mind kept on recalling days when Chike would sit at their dining table, writing a love letter in his notebook. His handwriting flows gracefully on each note. Chike's warm voice echoing from memory. My dearest Amora, thank you for believing in me when the world didn't. Amora, whispers. You didn't just lie to me, you lied through me. Each curve of ink was a confession. Every stroke, a promise undone. The same hand that once held hers had forged a lie worth millions. She snaps back into reality. Now in front of an hotel, she saw her husband through the car windshield. She told herself she wouldn't look for him. But truth has a way of finding you, even when your heart begs it not to. There he was. The man she'd once trusted with her future, now trading it for secrets in the rain. Amora, breathing heavily. Chike. Her lawyer's instinct said record it. Her heart said run. But she did neither, she just watched. In that moment, love became evidence. Undeniable. Painful. Amora sits at her dining table, case file open, laptop glowing dimly. She replays the scene in her mind again and again. They say justice is blind, but tonight, Amora wished it could forget. Because what happens when the law yourself points its finger at the love you swore was true? She exhales shakily, wipes her tears, her voice trembling. I thought we were building something real. After a few minutes, she wiped her face and took out her phone. Her hands trembled as she dialed. Chike, she whispered when he answered. Hey, babe. What's wrong? You sound? Where are you? At the office. Why? I need you to come home. Now. There was a pause. Amora, what happened? Please, Chike. Just come home. He hesitated. Okay. I'll be there soon. The house was too quiet. Amora sat on the couch, the file open on the table in front of her. Every document felt like a betrayal in paper form, receipts, bank transfers, digital trails that all led back to her husband and David. When Chuck walked in, he dropped his keys on the counter. Amora, you scared me. What's going on? She didn't look up. Sit down. He frowned, sat slowly. What's this about? She slid the file toward him. Explain. He flipped through the pages. His jaw tightened. Where did you get this? From my firm. You and David are under investigation for fraud. Amora. Don't lie to me. Her voice cracked, echoing in the silence. Please, just tell me it's not true. He looked at her for a long time, then sighed, defeated. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you stole people's money, Chuck. He rubbed his face. David told me it was a temporary investment, quick cash, small paperwork trick. I didn't know it was illegal until. Until what? Until you got caught. He slammed the file shut. I did it for us, Amora. For the life we wanted. She stared at him, her voice trembling. I never asked for this. I just wanted honesty. The front door opened suddenly. David Adebayo stood there, out of breath. Amora, don't listen to him. She turned sharply. You too. David raised his hands. Amora, calm down. I came to fix this before it gets worse. Chuck stood up. You started this, David. You dragged me into it. Dragged you. David sneered. You were greedy, Chuck. Don't pretend otherwise. Amora's voice cut through their shouting. Enough. The two men fell silent. She looked at them both, her husband and his closest friend, and felt something inside her break quietly. Both of you disgust me. Amora, Chuck began, but she stepped back. I'm a lawyer. I can't protect criminals, even if one of them is my husband. Tears welled up, but she didn't blink them away. She picked up the file and said quietly, I'll tell my firm to proceed. You can explain yourselves in court. Chuck's face crumpled. You do that to me? I didn't do this, Chuck. You did. She walked past them, out the door, leaving them standing in the silence of their own collapse. 2 months later. The camera pans over a crowded courtroom, reporters whisper, cameras click, and murmurs ripple through the gallery. The ceiling fans turn slowly, slicing through the heavy, tense air. A gavel bangs once. Silence falls. Court clerk. All rise. The Honorable Justice Uche presiding. Everyone rises. The judge, the calm, stern woman in her late 50s, enters and takes her seat. Justice Uche. You may be seated. Chuck Okofor sits in the defendant's box, head bowed, wrist cuffed. His once confident face is now pale, eyes dull. Beside him sits David Adebayo, hands clasped tightly, trying to mask his fear. Amora dressed in her black barrister's robe. Her wig sits perfectly, but her eyes reveal nights of no sleep. She avoids looking in Chuck's direction. She takes her position at the prosecution table, setting down her file with a calmness that hides her pain. Justice Uche. Prosecution, are we ready to proceed? Amora. Yes, my lord. Justice Uche. Defense. Defense counsel, Mr. Aditoro. Ready, my lord. The judge nods. Amora's hands tighten around her pen. She takes a deep breath, then steps forward. Amora. My lord, the state intends to prove that the defendants, Mr. Chuck Okofor and Mr. David Adebayo, knowingly forged financial documents with the intent to defraud. Their actions caused significant financial loss and violated both trust and law. Whispers ripple through the courtroom. Chuck's eyes flick up briefly, watching her, pain and regret flicker across his face. As Amora continues her statement, memories of her and Chuck laughing at the cafe, holding Amora's hand, him handing a man a brown envelope in the rain, Amora sitting alone at her desk, crying silently, the file slamming shut, played like a tape in her mind. Amora. The evidence will show a clear pattern, intent, execution, and concealment. But more than that, my lord, it will show the danger of betrayal in positions of trust. Her voice trembles slightly but steadies again. The judge nods, gesturing for her to proceed. An expert witness is called to the stand, a handwriting analyst. Prosecutor, Amora. Kindly state your findings, sir. Handwriting expert. After comparison, the signatures on the forged contracts match those of Mr. Chike Okafor and Mr. David Adebayo. The curves, slants, and strokes are identical, a deliberate act of forgery. The courtroom gasped softly. Chike closes his eyes, breathing heavily. David swallows hard. Defense counsel. Objection, my lord, handwriting resemblance does not prove intent. Justice Uche. Overruled. Continue. Movie camera cut TO, Amora presents the CCTV footage, the brown envelope exchange under the rain. Amora. This footage was obtained near the hotel where the transaction occurred. The prosecution submits this as Exhibit C. The clip plays on screen. Rain pours. Two shadowed figures exchange the envelope. The image pauses. Faces visible. Amora. That's Mr. Chike Okafor and Mr. David Adebayo, my lord. Silence. The judge studies the screen, face unreadable. Amora's eyes glisten, but she blinks the tears away. Chike's gaze meets hers across the room. No words. Only pain. Flashbacks of how their hands touched at the cafe, Chike smiling under the sunset. Now, the cold courtroom between them. Justice Uche. To Chike and David. Do you have anything to say before judgment is passed? Chike stands slowly, voice trembling. Chike. My lord. I made mistakes. But I never meant to hurt anyone. I only wanted a better life, for myself and my wife. I let greed and pride blind me. And for that, I am sorry. He looks at Amora, his voice breaking. Chike. Amora, I'm sorry. She doesn't move. Doesn't blink. Her jaw tightens, the only sign of pain. David rises next, his tone colder. David. My lord, I admit my part. I started the deal, but I didn't force anyone. We both knew the risks. We both chose this path. Justice Uche leans back, hands folded, eyes sharp. Justice Uche. Indeed. Two men, educated, privileged, who used intelligence to deceive rather than build. Justice will not sleep while greed wears the mask of love or friendship. The courtroom goes dead silent. Justice Uche. This court finds the defendants, Mr. Chike Okafor and Mr. David Adebayo, guilty as charged. Gasps echo. Cameras flash. Justice Uche. For the crimes of forgery and financial fraud, you are each sentenced to 7 years imprisonment without the option of fine. May this serve as a lesson that choices have consequences, even for those who once stood above the law. Gavel strikes, a final, resounding echo. Chike's head drops. David stares blankly ahead. Amora remains still, her eyes fixed on the floor, a single tear escaping down her cheek. That tear falls onto her black robe, justice and heartbreak in one drop. Chike is led away in handcuffs. He looks back once, silently mouthing, I'm sorry. Amora doesn't respond. She just stands there, dignified, broken, unyielding. The sound of the gavel still echoes faintly as guards lead Chike and David away. The crowd slowly begins to disperse, murmurs, whispers, the clicking of heels and cameras. Amora stands still, her body rigid. Her eyes are empty, her soul miles away. Court clerk, OS. Court rise. Everyone stands again as Justice Uche exits. The heavy courtroom doors close behind her with a deep wooden thud, final, irreversible. Amora exhales shakily. Her fingers, still gripping her pen, finally loosen. It falls to the desk with a soft clink. Her mentor, barrister. Kemi touches her shoulder gently. Bah. Kemi. You did well, Amora. Justice was served. Amora nods faintly, voice barely a whisper. Amora. Was it? Her eyes glisten. She forces a polite smile but can't hold it. Chike is escorted down the aisle in handcuffs. He pauses briefly beside her table. They lock eyes, for the last time. Chike. Softly. I never stopped loving you. His figure grows smaller as he's led through the double doors, swallowed by the corridor's darkness. The doors close. Silence. The sun is setting. Reporters swarm around Amora as she steps outside. Barrister Amora. How do you feel, winning a case against your ex-lover? One reporter said. Just before she could answer, another one shouted from behind. Do you believe justice and love can coexist? Her eyes dart between the flashing cameras. For a moment, she seems frozen, the questions sting deeper than bullets. Amora. Quietly. Justice isn't about who we love, it's about what we owe to truth. She turns and walks away, ignoring the crowd. The camera follows her retreat, each step slower than the last. She reaches the courthouse steps. The wind lifts the ends of her robe. For a brief second, she looks up at the orange sky, the weight of victory pressing down like grief. Her mind shifted to Chike. Amora, you're my peace. Don't ever stop believing in me. Amora. I believed, maybe too much. Their laughter at the cafe. The rain. The brown envelope. The betrayal. She snaps back to present. Amora removes her wig and holds it in her hand, the symbol of justice now heavy with memory. That night in Amora's apartment. The room is dimly lit. The sound of distant traffic hums faintly outside. Amora sits on the floor in her black robe, case files scattered around her like ghosts of everything she's lost. A framed photo of her and Chike lies face down on the table. She opens her journal and writes slowly. Justice won. But peace, still pending. She closes it. Silence. Her eyes stare blankly at the wall, then soften as a tear rolls down her cheek. The city lights outside flicker, Lagos alive again, unaware of the heart it just broke. 3 months later. The skyline glows in amber and gold. Cars weave through the streets below, distant and small. The same rooftop cafe where everything began, quieter now, emptier. A faint breeze hums through the air. Amora sits alone at a corner table, sipping tea. No wedding ring. No heavy files. Just her, the city, and peace slowly learning her name again. Her phone buzzes. A message from her mentor, Barrister Kemi. Proud of you, Amora. The Legal Aid Foundation is ready to have you on board. You deserve this new start. A small, real smile forms on her lips for the first time in months. A waiter approaches, it's the same young man who once saw her and Chike laughing here. He hesitates, remembering. Waiter. It's been a while, ma'am. You used to come here with. Pauses. Never mind. It's good to see you again. Amora. Smiles faintly. Yes, it's good to be here again. He nods politely and walks off. Amora looks out over the skyline, her reflection in the cafe glass, the woman reshaped by pain, standing on her own. The following Monday, Amora walks into a modest but vibrant office filled with young lawyers helping clients. The walls are covered with posters, justice for all, hope beyond bars. She sits beside a nervous young woman seeking help for domestic abuse, listening gently, taking notes, steady and calm. The woman said, her voice trembling from fear. Do you think people like me ever get real justice? Amora. Softly, with conviction. We don't stop until we do. Weeks later. Amora in court, her voice strong again. Amora laughing lightly with colleagues. Amora returning to her apartment, a new painting replaces the old photo of her and Chike, an open sky. Amora walks barefoot on the sand. The waves roll gently, washing away footprints. She stops, closes her eyes, and lets the wind carry away the last pieces of yesterday. Amora, softly to herself. I forgive you, Chike, and I forgive me too. A tear falls, but this one is light, cleansing, not heavy. The moral lesson of this story is that sometimes, love isn't destroyed by hate, it's tested by truth. Amora learned that when love crosses the line of honesty, it becomes evidence, painful, undeniable, and permanent. Chike's mistake wasn't just the crime, it was believing love could survive a lie. No matter how much you care for someone, never trade integrity for affection. Because in the end, love built on truth is the only one that stands when everything else falls apart. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to SilentVerdictsOfficialTv. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you do if love stood trial before you?